That's how I'm feeling. It's impossible for me believing that I can't, that I won't make it happen. Just watch what I got, all the strength that I have in me. I'm gonna stand up tall, gonna walk through the fire. You can knock me down, I'll jump up even higher. And I believe everything I need. I know, yes I know, it's all inside of me. Yeah, it's all inside of me. Oh, exceptional is what I'm bringing. Unforgettable, seeing is believing, and the fire inside me pushing me to be who I am and what I was born to. I'm gonna stand up tall, gonna walk through the fire. You can knock me down, I'll jump up even higher. And I believe everything I need. I know, yes I know, it's all inside of me. Yeah, it's all inside of me. Oh, I won't hold back, throw away the doubt. Nothing can stop me now. I won't hold back, throw away the doubt. Nothing can stop me now. I'm gonna stand up tall, gonna walk through the fire. You can knock me down, I'll jump up even higher. And I believe everything I need. I know, yes I know, it's all inside of me. 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 I believe it. I believe it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Press Play, Get in the Mix. I am just working on my skills on the guitar. It's something I've always really been wanting to do. And like, I can see myself as a guitar player. Like, I can picture it, and what I lack in skill, I make up for in confidence. So I think that that's enough. That's all you really need, because true confidence is learning to see yourself the way God sees you. And we know that God loves us so much, and He gives us the confidence to be our true self, to be who He's made us to be. And when you know what God thinks of you, then like anything is possible, right? So we can press play, we can get in the mix, and we can just be confident to get out there. So I'm gonna play you my song. So like, I think really pretty much all you do is you put your fingers on here and you make different shapes. And then you just like strum it out, and eventually the song is gonna just come through.
All right, Linz. I think your plan to learn guitar is a great idea, and confidence is a great thing to have when playing your instrument. But you may need a little bit more help with the guitar.
Well, are you calling yourself some kind of an expert? I mean, this is your guitar. So.
It is my guitar. I have played it once or twice.
Okay. And so when you learned how to play guitar, don't you just kind of go for it and you push on these
Well, I mean,
strings?
there's chord formations, there's things that you need to take into account, you know, such as the way you're hitting the strings.
What?
And, yeah, you can't just slam them.
Up here?
Not quite. You're almost there. You're almost there.
All right. Well, you know what? I want to learn, so I'd rather just get you to teach me a couple things. Just kind of show me what a better plan for learning how to play. So,
All right.
So let's see.
Well,
what you got here?
So what you were trying to play before, that's a D.
Oh, D. Okay.
We're a little out of tune, but that's okay. And you can move it to a G.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Add in a C.
Okay.
Right?
So you're planning to like put them in a certain order.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
To make
and
the song.
you know, and then you learn a little bit, you know, some like soloing formations and things like that. But
Okay.
you know, it takes time, practice.
Okay. It does, eh?
Right? But
Well, I mean, I trust you. I'm sure you know what you're doing as you play the guitar. So, I mean, it does help when you can follow along with someone who knows what they're doing. So, I mean, keep the guitar on because we're actually about to do a worship song.
All right.
So maybe you can just play along with that. And we're going to worship God and we're going to talk about how we can trust Him.
that sounds like some fun.
All right, let's do it.
Before the day I took a breath, you had a plan for my every step. You promised to always be by my side. I believe that you are the way, you are the truth, you are the light. So I sing this to you. You keep your promises every day. I will believe in everything that you say. Yeah, in the dark I know you're making a way. Jesus, I will trust you. You're always good at everything that you do. And I know everything that you say is true. And every moment you are leading me through. Jesus, I will trust you. I wanna be honest and true and do what's right the way you do. You're teaching me to take a stand and live for you. Cause I believe that you are the way, you are the truth, you are the light. So I sing this to you. You keep your promises every day. I will believe in everything that you say. Yeah, in the dark I know you're making a way. Jesus, I will trust you. You're always good at everything that you do. And I know everything that you say is true. And every moment you are leading me through. Jesus, I will trust you. Even in the moments I feel alone, I know I can. Trust that you're working and holding my world in your hands. Even in the moments I feel alone, I know I can. Trust that you're working and holding my world in your hands. You are the way, you are the truth, you are the life. So I sing this to you. You keep your promises every day. I will believe in everything that you say. Yeah, in the dark I know you're making a way. Jesus, I will trust you. You're always good at everything that you do. And I know everything that you say is true. And every moment you are leading me through. Jesus, I will trust you.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of Joshua, chapters 5 and 6.
For 40 years, God's people wandered the desert. At last, they reached the land that God had promised them. Joshua led them to the edge of the rushing Jordan River.
The priests will carry the ark of the Lord.
The ark was a beautiful chest that reminded the Israelites that God was with them.
As soon as the priests step into the Jordan, it will stop flowing.
Sure enough, as soon as the foot of the first priest touched the edge of the river, the waters parted. God's people crossed on dry land, just as God had led them through the Red Sea 40 years before.
God did this so that all the nations on earth would know that he is powerful.
Soon after, the Amorites and Canaanites living in the land had heard what God had done. Fearful, they retreated back to their towns, including the high-walled city of Jericho.
Oh, great. Like, how do we fight them now?
God will show us the way.
That evening, Joshua left camp and snuck toward Jericho. The walls loomed impossibly strong.
So tall.
As he turned, Joshua saw a man standing nearby holding a sword.
Who are you? Are you on our side or the side of our enemies?
I have come as the commander of the Lord's army.
Joshua knelt down, face to the ground.
What message does my Lord have for me?
Take off your sandals. The place you are on is holy ground.
Joshua tugged off his shoes.
I have handed Jericho over to you.
Joshua listened carefully as the Lord delivered a message, a battle plan unlike any other.
Wow. Okay, we'll do it, Lord.
Joshua called for the priests.
Get the Ark of the Covenant, and I need 7 of you to march in front of the Ark with trumpets.
Sorry, just warming up.
Joshua gathered the army too.
Time to move out.
Like, do we get to attack now?
March around the city.
Just, like, go in circles?
Some of you march ahead of the Ark of the Lord, and the rest of you march behind.
Can we at least shout and stuff? Hey, Jericho, you guys smell like cheese!
Don't give a war cry or raise your voices until the day I tell you to shout. But the priests must blow their trumpets. Forward, march!
The entire army, including the priests, marched one time around Jericho, just as the Lord had instructed Joshua.
Now can we get them?
Back to camp, men. We march again tomorrow.
The next morning, the Israelites marched around the city once again. And then on day 3, once again on day 4, not to mention day 5, and once again on day 6.
We march again at sunrise.
I have blisters.
At dawn on the 7th day, the army and priests formed their strange parade once more. But this time, once they finished marching around the city one time, Joshua called out,
Keep marching!
Again? My feet are killing me.
The Lord has told me we must march around the city 7 times today.
On the 7th time around, the priests blew a long blast on their trumpets.
Now shout! The Lord has given you the city!
You're smelling cheese!
As the shouts of the Israelites rang out in the clear morning air, something incredible happened. The massive walls of Jericho began to tremble. The gates shivered and quaked. Jagged cracks ran through the heavy stones. Rocks began to tumble from the tops of the walls. Little rocks, large stones, giant boulders, until at last the walls collapsed, crashing in on themselves. The ground quaked, and plumes of dust burst into the air. As the air cleared, the Israelites stared in amazement. The city of Jericho stood wide open.
Take the city!
With nothing standing in their way, the Israelites charged right in. That day, they completely defeated the city of Jericho. God was with Joshua, and he became well known everywhere in the land.
We can't always see how things will work out in God's plan. When the Israelites looked at that city of Jericho, all they could see was a huge wall, right? And they were just like, got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. 6 whole days of just walking around and all the while just making trumpet sounds. And then the walls will just be falling down. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. So they had to trust that God was going to do what he said he would do. It was really the only way that they could win and see the victory that God was going to give them and promise them over that city. So think about what it was like for Jesus' disciples when Jesus went to the cross, right? Their friend is getting arrested and he's being put on trial for things he didn't do. And he is having to answer things that are not fair. And then he actually got put on a cross and died. Do you think they thought that things were going well at that point? Right? It was awful. They would hardly imagine how that could work out for good. But of course we know what happened 3 days later when Jesus rose again and everything was as he had promised and everything started to make sense. That Jesus had to do that, that was part of God's plan. Well, sometimes we can only see like part of God's plan and what's going to happen. And in those times, we have to just trust and obey. We have to have faith in God. And that's why last month we worked on all those things that build our faith, like hearing from God and praying to him and talking about him and living for him, right? I mean, the hard part is we can't figure it all out. We can't understand everything, but we still have to keep following God and living his way. We can have confidence in him, right? We can trust that his plan is always best. So remember, God's plan is the best plan. That's what I remind myself of all the time. God's plan is the best plan for you and for me. Like, let me tell you about a time, I went to school to be a teacher. So my plan was to become a teacher. I worked really hard and I even got started teaching and I was going to all these different schools and I really had fun supply teaching and doing that in all these classrooms. And I started working for Kidville like just a couple days a week. But then God started to nudge me. It was really busy with my family's schedule and Kidville needed a lot of extra help, more than what we were doing. And so God was telling me to go for that and to do a new plan. Well, it was hard for me to change my plan because my plan was different and I had worked hard for that and I was going with that and it was a great job. And so I had a hard time agreeing to that. But once I made the choice to do what God was asking me to do and to follow his plan, then I started to see what good things he was going to bring from that. And I think about this last year and how hard it would be to be a teacher, right? And I think it's pretty cool that I get to work for Kidville all the time and do all kinds of fun things with you all and put out these videos for you and all the other things that we have done and that we have coming up. And I'm really glad that I trusted that God's plan is better than my plan. And I get to tell you all about that and how Jesus' plan is the best. So that's pretty cool. And I found out that I can trust God no matter what, that his plan is the best. So I hope that you can trust that too. So say this with me one more time. God's plan is the best plan. All right. 1, 2, 3. God's plan is the best plan. Check out our GodTime cards. Maybe you have your Press Play journal that you're doing. That's a lot of fun to put in some things that apply to your life and what God wants to teach you about being confident and understanding who you are, how he's made you. So keep going with that, and I hope to see you soon.